Head north of the UK, north again, and then just a bit more north, and you reach Shetland, one of the most extraordinary places for wildlife on Earth. Over 1,600 miles of rugged coastline, home to the exotic, the rare, and the breathtaking.
I had time to really hear the birdsong.
I'm Alison Steadman, and when I'm not acting, I'm a patron of the RSPB and a nature lover. For a back garden twitcher like me, these unforgiving islands are an exciting challenge. Will they reveal their remarkable wildlife secrets?
This is absolutely freezing.
In spring and summer, Shetland is home to otters, seals, and over 1 million seabirds, one of the largest populations in the UK.
Oh, that is just too much.
If this city girl can handle the conditions of this rough and ready outpost, the reward will be the most incredible wildlife experience.
If I were to live 1,000 years, I don't think I'd see anything as amazing as this.
After a lifetime waiting to come to these remote islands, finally, my Shetland journey begins, and immediately, it feels very different from home.
The one thing that's really kind of amazing me is that there are no trees here. And I don't think I've ever been anywhere in the world where there are no trees. There's hardly any people, which is something I'm not used to, having lived in 2 cities my whole life.
The rugged Shetland archipelago stretches for 80 miles. It lays 200 miles north of Aberdeen and is made up of over 100 islands. My trip will take me through Shetland's mainland, meeting the wildlife and locals as I go, and finishes on the most northern island of Unst. But I start back on the mainland on the way to Sombra Head in search of one of my favourite birds.
We've just had a call from the RSPB at Sombra, which is in the south, to say there are puffins there. Now, it's mid-April, and puffins don't usually arrive till a little bit later. Now, there's no guarantee they're going to still be there when we get there, because apparently they just come and go. But fingers crossed, we're going to see some puffins. And I'm absolutely delighted. I was so excited when we got the call, because I've never actually seen them. I've looked at 1,000 photographs, so maybe today this will be it.
Sombra Head is often the first landing point for puffins returning to breed, and at the height of the season will play host to 1,500 birds.
Have you seen puffins before?
No.
No? Oh, I'm really pleased that you've got to see them here.
Oh, I'm glad this fence is I haven't got a head for heights and that.
Oh, here's one just coming in.
Yes. Look at that. It's so close. Orange feet, orange beaks, white boob.
Helen Moncrief has been waiting keenly for the puffins to return.
I've never seen anybody see a puffin and not with a smile on their face.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that is so wonderful. Been waiting for this moment really all my life.
Puffins travel here from wintering sites out at sea. Some have flown from as far as the Bay of Biscay, nearly 1,000 miles away. And the reason? Food. Shetland sits where the Atlantic and the North Sea collide. The deep cold water, which is rich in nutrients, is forced to the surface. This means lots of food for the fish, and lots of fish attract the seabirds who come to raise their young.
Did you know that they drop the colourful beak in the winter time?
No.
So they just grow that back on for the breeding season.
Really?
But if you were to see them in the winter, they'd have a darker face and a smaller, duller bill.
Really?
It's like putting on the lipstick for the breeding season. But the boys
Don't
do
we
it
all
as
do
well.
that?
They nest in burrows here, and they either take over a rabbit's burrow or they build their own, and then they just lay the one egg. So both parents are very involved in bringing up the chick.
Feeding and looking after the chick. Oh.
Have you heard the Shetland name for them?
No.
No, Taminori.
Taminori. I've got an app on my iPad, you know, a bird app.
Oh, yeah.
And so I tick them off, and when I go through it and I see gaps, I go, oh, you know, I've got to see that. So I can now tick puffin. I'll be so thrilled to be able to do that.
For a bird fanatic like me, seeing the beautiful puffins for the first time is a real treat and something I'm so glad I've done. However, I can't pretend the next leg of my adventure is filling me with the same level of enthusiasm.
I'm on my way to apparently going sea kayaking. Now, I'm not keen on this at all. I'm very apprehensive. I'd go as far as to say I'm a little bit nervous about it. One of the things I'm worried about is getting in the kayak and then getting out, because this very small hole you've got to get your feet into. So it might be a bit embarrassing.
The Shetland coast is one of the most dramatic in the UK, and my guide Angus is going to take me on a trip to see it from sea level. Stay calm, Alison. During the winter months, Shetland is smashed by storm-force winds. This relentless pounding has created a truly dramatic shoreline, featuring stacks, arches, and hundreds of sea caves. And the small kayak allows you to get right in amongst it all. Today there's a westerly wind, so we're heading up the east coast in search of sheltered waters. At least the sea is flat today, thank heavens for small mercies. But just trying to get into the kayak is a challenge enough.
How on earth am I going to get in there?
That's it.
Oh, gosh.
I'm usually fine with an audience, but this isn't the most flattering of roles.
Don't makes me frightened.
It's okay. Each minute as it goes past, you get more comfortable. Off we go. We'll do a wee circle. Okay. So that's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're instinctively doing the right thing, and I'm chuffed.
Now, this makes me nervous because we're going near the rocks.
It's okay. We're fine.
Makes me nervous again.
We're fine.
The kayak allows us to travel close to the rocks, a little too close for my liking. But it does mean we get a really good look at the wildlife.
Now, you see the shag there ahead of us? That's small cormorant or little cormorant shag.
Ah, got him, yeah.
Yeah.
Drying himself in the sun.
And here's the fulmar petrel. If you approach it when it's on its nest with an egg or a chick,
Yeah, it doesn't like that.
it'll vomit on you. And it's a foul stench. So no other bird messes with a fulmar petrel.
Angus, just reassure me.
We're going to go through this passageway.
What, through
We're actually
there?
go-
We're going to go through there?
We're going to go through the one on the right. It's a brilliant passage. So just enjoy the ride.
I'm sitting in a small plastic boat with thousands of tons of rock towering over me. I may be terrified, but it's absolutely magnificent.
Well, I must say this is quite an experience.
Yeah.
Shetland has been on an incredible geological journey, inching its way from close to the South Pole, across the equator, to its current position at the crossroads of the North Atlantic. So over hundreds of millions of years, it's played host to tropical seas, volcanoes and deserts.
About the time of the Napoleonic Wars, the British Navy would come to Shetland to plunder its young men, because the Shetland men were well known for their seamanship. So they had no choice but to go and serve in the Navy. And if they got wind of this, they would hide themselves in caves.
Gosh, such a history, this whole place,
There's a
isn't
lot
it?
of history, yeah. I like the way you're paddling. I think you're a natural at this.
Do you?
You're just automatically doing what's right.
Oh, that's amazing.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Angus.
Oh, you see the crest on that shag that went past us there?
Yeah, fantastic.
With my feet back on dry land, I take a moment to admire one of Shetland's jewels and the UK's largest tombolo, where a strip of beach joins an island to the mainland. Flanked on either side by open sea, it's a special place. Just the spot to reflect on the day's events.
I've never been a really adventurous person. I'll go on stage, and I've done all that all my life. But when it comes to sort of fairground rides, bungee jumping, roller coasters, no, I've never been on a roller coaster. I'll tell a lie. I went on a roller coaster that was specially designed for children, and I was terrified. I was clinging on. I couldn't wait for it to finish. It's just not me, that adventurous thing. So kayaking, I just thought no. Having said that, when we came to it, it was a fantastic experience. So I was glad that I did it, and I felt quite pleased with myself.
They breed them tough up here, and the locals are about to show me that my adventure has only just begun.
Well done!
Shetland, isolated in the middle of the North Sea and the only dry land for miles, is a magnet for wildlife. And it's that exotic and varied mix that has brought me here. Though it doesn't feel that exotic right now.
The weather here seems to change all the time. It seems to go from raining to sunny to hail. It's always blowing a gale, that's for sure, and it's freezing.
I can't imagine how anyone can carve out a living in this exposed landscape. Crofters once farmed here. Today many have gone. The ruins of their homesteads litter the landscape. But the descendants of their ponies are still everywhere to be seen. Shetland ponies have been on these islands since the Bronze Age, and during the Industrial Revolution were bred here in huge numbers and sent to mainland Britain to work down the coal mines. Poor things. Shetland ponies are still bred today for children to ride, and whilst I'm here, I definitely want to meet up with some of the island's most famous inhabitants. I've come to Raywick, on the west side of the mainland, to meet one of Shetland's youngest pony breeders, Charlotte Cree-Hay, who moved to the islands when she was 10.
I can remember the night that Mum and Dad said we were moving to Shetland, and I burst into tears because I was 10 and obviously I had my entire life sorted and moving to Shetland wasn't on the bucket list.
Yeah, that wasn't on the list.
So they said, well, what do you want? We'll give you anything. I said, I want a Shetland pony.
Charlotte may have got her way with the pony, but Shetland soon got under her skin too.
So if you had to say in one sentence why you love living here, what would you say?
That's a really tricky question. I think the freedom and the way of life, and it's so relaxed.
Yeah.
But most people say if you can't hack the winters, then you might as well go.
Yeah.
You feel like you get up in the dark and you go to bed in the dark and you don't see much daylight in between.
Long dark winters, yes. On the plus side, there's not too many places in the UK where you'd get a beach like this for you and your ponies.
I'm loving this one. It's so lovely.
Do you want one? We'll take one home.
I'd love one. I don't think it'd fit in my flat though.
No, probably not.
Charlotte's stud has grown over the years, but her favourite will always be her first pony, Flaxie. They grew up together on this beach and still love sharing a swim. It's only 8 degrees in there, and there's no way I'm donning a wetsuit. I have my limits.
It might look nice and sunny, but believe me, I've got 8 layers on and I'm freezing. And she's smiling. She's smiling. That's a real kind of trust the pony's got. The pony's kind of going, oh, it's really cold, but okay, I'm going to do it. Oh, amazing. Well done. Well done.
Right, come on in. They're quite good at kind of calling time out by themselves as well. We'll get them back to the stallion.
I love the peace and quiet here, but I think the winter, the hours of daylight are very, very short and sometimes non-existent, and so I couldn't spend months and months of dark and cold and no.
Thankfully, now it's April. The darkness has been replaced by long hours of daylight, and the islands are starting to come back to life. The next part of my journey starts from the capital, Lerwick, where a ferry will take me out towards the east to a nature reserve that has only just opened up for the season. Shetland has a population of only 23,000. Most of the islands have no roads, no shops, and no people. Small sanctuaries where the wildlife can live undisturbed. I'm on my way to see a Shetland resident you very rarely see in mainland UK, the black guillemot. This is an opportunity I can't afford to miss.
I've always said if I hadn't been an actress all my life, the thing I would really have liked to have done was work with animals, birds, or work in the countryside. And so today, a little bit of a dream come true. I'm actually going to the island of Nos, which is uninhabited apart from 2 wardens. And they're going to be there for 5 months counting gannets and guillemots.
Getting to Nos is no easy task. After the short ferry ride, there's a 3-mile drive across the island of Bressay. Then finally, it's onto yet another tiny boat to cross a narrow sound. But I'm sure the journey will be well worth it.
Oh, there's a bit of a wind. Oh my goodness.
In Shetland, it's always windy.
Unlike most other European auks, such as puffins and razorbills, that congregate in large numbers, the black guillemot, or taisty as it's known here, is typically found in ones and twos. Nesting under the cliffs, they're hard to spot, but wardens Kat Snell and Craig Nisbet know just the place to look.
They're a beautiful little bird and are quite a rare bird to see in the UK. Their range is restricted to the Northern Isles, north and western coasts of Scotland and Ireland.
I've got a tasty in the scope just now, Alison, if you'd like a look.
I would.
Look out for the little red legs under his body.
Yeah, got him. And all black with...
All black with a little white wing patch.
Yeah.
And a colleague of ours describes them as wearing their dinner jackets because they look so smart in the summertime. It's a good sign that spring has arrived when you start to see tasties in their dinner jackets.
Kat and Craig will spend their days walking the island to monitor the cliffs. They're both completely committed to counting every bird that arrives. Now that's what I call bird watching.
Yeah, when I was 9, I went on holiday with school, first time I'd been away. And we were on a country walk, and I could hear this blackbird singing in the tree. So I started trying to impersonate it. Because basically, for some reason, I used to try and impersonate everything. So I'm standing in front of the whole class, you could imagine. Standing there going... Everyone applauding me. Oh dear, but it was a real moment, you know, that... I suppose because I'd been brought up in a city, suddenly I had time to listen and to really hear the bird song, and it was so lovely. And so from then on, I would start to listen to bird song. I mean, not that I know many bird songs now.
During their 5-month stay on Nos, these two colleagues will live here alone in this old croft, the only building on the island.
So, Kat, I see a stove, I see some wood. So how do you exist? I mean, have you got electricity and gas?
Our solar panels and wind generator produce enough electricity, so we have the basics, really. We can charge mobile phones, we can charge laptops, and we do have a television. I think it's in a box in the attic, and I think you only get it out on special occasions.
But it's not like we're out here non-stop for 5 months. We are going back into Lerwick every now and again, and
Yes.
back to the shops.
The only difference is, instead of getting in your car and driving to the supermarket, we put a dry suit on and take the tender, the small boat, down across the Sound where you came over today, pull it up the other side, cycle across the next island, get on a ferry, and then go shopping and do it all in reverse.
Well, that was amazing. And Kat and Craig, just wonderful. But I honestly don't think I could spend 5 months of a year there. I just couldn't. It would be great for about a month. I could do it, and I could sort of read in the evenings, and I'd love the fire, and I'd love the skies at night. But it's a long commitment, 5 months, isn't it? Just two of you.
Leaving Nos behind, I head back to the relative hustle and bustle of Lerwick to meet some of the locals. The kind of locals you don't see in most capital towns and cities.
Well, there can't be many places in the world where there are houses, factories, a supermarket, and you look onto the beach and there's 5 seals just happily lounging around. But apparently they're pretty sharp, and they follow the fishing boats as they come into Lerwick Harbour. But it's a pretty extraordinary sight.
Shetland's a truly wild place with so much to offer. Get out amongst it, and your efforts will be rewarded.
Whoa, here he is, here's daughter.
I'm in the Shetland archipelago. Situated midway between Scotland and the Arctic Circle, Shetland lies on a migration flyway. It's one of Europe's largest breeding sites for over 70 species of birds. I'm used to sitting in the comfort and safety of a bird hide. In Shetland, there's so much to see, but you've got to get out there to find it.
I do enjoy walking. Obviously now I can't walk as far as I used to, And I do enjoy being outdoors. I love it. And so this wild and woolly country is, it's just exciting. It's really exciting.
You can't come to an island nation like Shetland without trying the seafood. At home in London, it comes pre-packaged from the supermarket, but here, of course, it comes fresh from the sea. I'm heading to Dury Voe in the northeast of the mainland to meet Kenny Johnson. He's a true local, and after a lifetime foraging for seafood on the beaches of Shetland, is a bit of an expert.
A boy?
Yeah, I've always been very keen on foraging. On the way home from the school, there was a good beach for spoots, so...
Boots?
Spoots.
What are spoots?
Spoots is the razor clams. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a really good beach, and we had to walk past, so we would go and gather spoots and take them home for our tea on the way home from school.
Put them in your pockets?
Yeah, in our pockets and school bag, and sometimes get our good shoes wet and our good trousers wet, and maybe get a slight scalding.
Kenny plans to cook me one of his favourite foraging recipes, razor clam and sea urchin pasta. But first, he needs to find those spoots.
The razor clams are buried in the sand here, Alison. The best way to find them is to walk backwards, and then the pressure on the sand sort of triggers them to give their position away. And sometimes you can actually see the top of them, so it's like two eyes looking at you.
And if you see something, you have to quickly dig down
You
and grab
have to quickly get down and get pressure on it.
Have you seen something?
Possibly. Possibly not.
The razor clam has a muscular foot, which it sends down into the sand, expanding it to form an anchor to pull itself deeper. Getting them out is a real skill.
Actually, I don't think it's a spoot. It's not. It's a soft-shelled clam.
All right.
But we don't eat them because they're extremely old. That clam's about probably 80 or 90 years old.
How do you know that? How can you tell?
Well, each one of those rings is a year.
I feel like the rings on a tree as the tree grows.
Yeah, it's the same. The Shetland name for this is smizzling.
Spooks and smizzling for tea tonight.
But we'll pop them back. It's an
Okay.
old fella.
Put the old man back.
I've only ever seen the empty shells of razor clams lying on the beach, and I can't imagine I'd be able to catch one, but it's fascinating watching Kenny at work.
Looks, sure enough.
Oh, look at the size of that one. Thank you. Hey, two. Wow.
One.
Look at that.
With the first part of our feast foraged for, Kenny leads me down the shore in search of the next ingredient.
What I'm looking for down here, Alison, is sea urchins. Or in Shetland, we call them scaddyman's heads.
These names are just amazing. Say it again.
Scaddyman's head.
Scaddyman's head.
Yeah, that's very good.
Sea urchins mainly feed on kelp leaves, so find kelp and the urchins will often be nearby.
There we go. There's one.
Amazing looking things, aren't they?
Yeah, but it also makes very good pasta.
Forgive me if I reserve judgment on that, Kenny. To cook the dish, Kenny fries up tomato, garlic, chilli and spring onion, and then gets some water on the boil, ready for the pasta.
Okay, there we go.
I have to admit, he's winning me over. The smell is divine.
Can I help you in any way? You're doing
No, you just relax, Alison.
Shetland linguine.
Shetland linguine, the meeting of the two great cultures, Nordic and Italian.
Next for the sea urchin, and it's the roe inside that Kenny's after.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
So that's their eggs.
That's the eggs. Lovely, lovely.
And for the final ingredient, those razor clams.
So the spoots have like a intestine. I suppose ultimately it's spoot's poo, but I like to look at better as algae.
I wish you'd never said that. I wish you'd never told me that.
I hope you don't mind me cooking with my fingers.
I'll forgive you. When I'm eating razor clam poo and urchin's eggs, I think I'll forgive you using your fingers. That'll be fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it smells good. It smells really good. Okay, so where does one begin? Here we
At
go.
that end.
That's lovely. It's really lovely. And it's lovely to be round the fire and warm for once. in the open air with my chef cooking me razor clams, an urchin roe. You cook a mean fusion pasta, you do.
Having fine-dined on Kenny's spoots and Scaddyman's heads, I leave him to continue my journey up through Shetland. Now I'm leaving the mainland, heading over Yell to the most northern island of Unst. To get there, first I take a ferry from Toft, followed by the drive across Yell, and then another ferry to Belmont and Unst. The first thing on the agenda is an animal I've always wanted to see, but always failed.
If I could see an otter, I'd be absolutely delighted. And in fact, my screensaver on my phone is an otter looking like that. So it'll be lovely if I can see an otter. It really will.
Shetland is home to around 1,000 otters, making it one of their main strongholds in the UK. In most other parts of Britain, these shy animals are nocturnal, but partly owing to the long hours of summer daylight, Shetland otters have become used to venturing out during the daytime, so it's the perfect place to see them. Bryden Thomason, a crofter son who was brought up on the neighbouring island of Fetler, has spent all his life tracking and photographing these elusive creatures. And tomorrow, he's agreed to take me along too.
The passion for wildlife is something I've had since I was a bear and able to go off on my own. But later I sort of started to get more and more into photography, and it's something I really enjoy and spend a lot of time at.
Do you take pictures of your children? No.
No, very rarely.
Just one.
No.
I took a picture last summer of a butterfly, and I am so thrilled with this picture.
Nice one.
There's not a friend that hasn't seen it at least 10 times. Oh, have I shown you my picture?
Yeah.
But when you get a good picture, it is so thrilling.
It's very gratifying because as soon as you press the shutter, it's yours. Like you've captured that moment.
It's
really,
yours.
So
That's what it is. Yeah.
Eurasian otters are usually freshwater animals, but with no large rivers in Shetland, they've adapted to living on the shoreline. However, access to fresh water is essential to wash the salt out of their fur. The best time to see otters is around low tide when they come out to feed. Right now, that's 5 a.m, so it's going to be an early start. The next day, we're up at first light, a time when I'd normally still be tucked up in bed.
So they're that sensitive, are they?
Very sensitive, yeah.
Right now, there's a cold north wind coming in from the sea. It will help to blow our scent away from the otters, but in the choppy water, they'll be much harder to spot.
Don't be fooled by the sun. Although it's helped a tiny bit, it is still absolutely freezing. And the wind is like an ice wind.
This is beautiful Shetland weather. This is what you came for.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, on this rock, this is quite interesting here because you can actually see fresh spraint here.
Otter poo or spraint wouldn't normally grab my attention, but it seems there's more to this than meets the eye.
Spraint is extremely important to otters. It's kind of like their Facebook page in many senses. It's not really a territorial thing, but they're communicating all sorts of like breeding status and where they're feeding, what they're feeding on, all these different things. But that's so fresh. That's just minutes ahead of us.
Oh, that's a seal, I think.
Yeah, it is. That's a seal bobbing on the surface.
See how cool I'm getting? Oh, it's only a seal.
So it's only a seal, yeah. Where's the otters?
We know there's been an otter here recently, so we continue along the coast, checking land and sea as we go.
Whoa, here he is, here's the otter. About 20, 30 metres offshore. It's under at the moment, Alison, but it was moving from right to left. There. If you drop your binoculars for a second, it's just immediately below.
As hard as Bryden tries, I just can't get sight of the otter.
Well, it's been a great morning, except for one thing. I missed the otter. My big chance. Bryden pointed it out. I panicked. It was very difficult, though, because the sea's moving and all these black rocks and things, and I was fumbling with my binoculars, and I missed the otter.
I'm so disappointed, but Bryden's determined I don't miss out. We'll come again this afternoon at the next low tide. In the meantime, he's taking me to an old barn. Inside at last.
I feel I'm going to fly off any minute.
Otters have recently been visiting here during the dark hours of night, gaining access through a cat flap in the door.
So basically this is a motion sensor camera, so this takes, every time it's triggered with movement,
Yeah.
the otter comes in and out of the lane there, every time it's triggered it records for 30 seconds of video footage. It's such a great environment for them because it's dry, it's warm, but the otter's in and out overnight and leaves first thing in the morning. So bring up some footage here and see where it's recorded for us. Look, 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 it's a little hedgehog.
Oh no!
It's a pretty hedgehog using the barn too.
Ah,
yeah.
there's an otter.
So that's him just coming around this corner,
Yeah.
having a little sniff around as he leaves, and then
Yeah,
and
there's
then
the ladder.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the footage from the inside, Alison. But I've had the other cameras set on the outside. So there he is down the bottom there. Look at that! Look at that!
Yeah.
That's him actually gone in the cat flap.
Yeah.
And you can see he's obviously taking his time to actually go right in, because he'll probably, once he gets in the doorway, he's probably sniffing the air, checking, asking the cats if it's okay to come into their barn. Oh look, he's coming back out.
Oh, there he is.
He's actually coming back out.
Is that the same otter coming in and out, or are there a few, or a family of
There's
them?
actually, I'm pretty sure there's actually 2 different otters using it, but that's no unusual for more than one otter to use one holt. It's kind of communal use sometimes of holts.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't both use it at the same time.
At 4 p.m, we're out on the hunt for otters again. It's low tide, and this is my last chance.
Oh, there he's up on the... He's actually up on, you see the old wall there? He's climbing up on top there.
Fantastic. He's climbing up.
He's actually just gone through the crack in the rocks. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Fantastic. He's just going down the side.
Slipped into the water.
The sea.
When out foraging, otters often work their way along the shore. Hunting for fish and crabs, they can dive for around 30 seconds. That's your time to move, and if you're careful, you'll often get a second sighting.
Amazing. I mean, the most fantastic view. We saw him down there, and you could see the coat, the sort of amber colour. He was grooming himself and lying on his back, and fantastic. And then he went in the water, and he swam all the way along here, and then he was on the rocks over there, sort of looking around. He's gone back in the water now, but I've had, I mean, such an amazing view. I mean, it was just, couldn't have been better.
With every experience I've had here, Shetland has got a little bit more under my skin. It's a place that really grows on you.
I love living in London. I love the city. But I also love this. I love the quiet, the peace, and the fact there's hardly any people around. And the people you do meet are all content and seem to take life at a very, very slow and easy pace, which is quite different from what I'm used to.
Shetland has given me so much already, but as I head north, even greater surprises await.
That is just too much.
I'm in Shetland, where I've travelled through the islands to reach the most northern of them all, Unst. The next stop on my journey is Saxe-Voord. The headland's situated right at the top of the island. I've come here to meet Lawrence Tulloch, a former lighthouse keeper on the wonderfully named Muckle Flugga. Lawrence worked here at the most northern point of the UK for 4 years until 1979. In the following years, the lighthouse was automated and today lies empty, but he still has strong memories of his time there.
That must have been a tough job.
Well, it wasn't away, but once on the lighthouse, and we had plenty of creature comforts. We were warm, we had nice accommodation, nice bedrooms, a big library of books.
How many of you were there?
3 at a time.
Right. And you were there for what, weeks and weeks and weeks?
No, 4 weeks there and 4 weeks home.
The lighthouse, built during the 1850s, was designed by Robert Louis Stevenson's father, and as a boy, the author visited the Flugga.
His signature actually appears in the visitor's book.
Oh, does it really?
Yes.
How exciting.
And Unst and Muckleflugger seem to leave a lasting impression on him because the island of Unst bears a remarkable resemblance to the map that's in Treasure Island.
And actually it does. I mean, it's simplified. Oh, it's got the island at the bottom, hasn't it?
Yep.
That bay, which is Norwich.
Yes.
And there's Rum Cove, and that's the bay there. And the water coming in there. Well, there you go.
There's a remarkable resemblance between the two.
How exciting. That was his inspiration.
That was his inspiration, yes.
My trip through Shetland is nearly complete, and my final destination, Hermanus, lies just across the water. I'm heading there to relive a pivotal moment I experienced as a girl when my passion for birds was only just beginning.
When I was 17, I bought a reel-to-reel tape recorder. And so I put the little microphone on the window and recorded the birdsong in our garden. It was just so beautiful. There seemed to be just every evening this chorus. I did find this tape recorder recently and I listened to it, hoping the birdsong would be on, but sadly it isn't. But there is a very, very embarrassing recording of me and my boyfriend singing Kumbaya.
Shetland seabird sanctuaries are world famous because they're so large, so diverse, so scenically spectacular. And Hermanus, with 170-metre sea cliffs that are home to 33,000 gannets, is utter perfection for me. The chance to see and hear a huge colony of Britain's largest seabird. I'm joining local ecologist Richard Shucksmith on a mission to record the sounds of the colony, and I can't wait. After all, recording birdsong in my parents' garden is how I got into all this in the first place.
I think birds have an amazing ability of engaging with so many people in so many different ways, from the sound, the sight, and the fact that you can just see them in your garden.
Well, I sit in my flat. We're on the ground floor. I've got feeders outside the window, and it's a room where I work if I'm learning lines, and I've, often got a lot of lines to learn. And then occasionally I give myself a little break and I look out the window, and there they are on the feeders, and there'll be a woodpecker will arrive, and then maybe a nuthatch, and it's just so relaxing. At one time, we had a blackbird used to visit our garden.
When I recorded the birdsong as a teenager, the technology was limited, and to be honest, the results weren't that great. 50 years on, the kit's improved dramatically, and today Richard has come armed with some of the latest gear. A parabolic microphone.
Right, this is the microphone.
Yeah.
The dish helps concentrate the sound. It's meant to sort of amplify the sound, if you like, about 10 times. If you point at the stream, just pop these headphones on.
How's my hair?
You're looking great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Wow.
If you hold this, then if you point at that stream and move it around, you can see how directional the mic is.
It's extraordinary.
To show me just how sensitive the microphone is, Richard's planned a little test. He wants to see if I can hear him whispering from a distance of 20 metres.
Can you hear me? Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
So it's actually whispering. It's so far away. Just tiny whisper, and I can hear it absolutely clearly.
It is amazing. Every time I put that microphone together, I think it opens up a whole soundscape which you just don't realise is there.
It feels like silent now, fantastic.
With the basics covered, I'm ready to try my hand with the wildlife. At my pace, it takes a long time to trek over the moors to the gannet colony. When I arrived in Shetland, I wouldn't have taken on a trip like this, but I've learnt that if you make the effort here, you'll be rewarded.
This is one of my favourite places.
Wow. Oh, that is just too much. Look, there's thousands of them. Oh, gosh. Oh, it's just amazing. Oh, If I were to live 1,000 years, I don't think I'd see anything as amazing as this. It's like snow down the cliff, isn't it? It looks like snow. Where we can see them sitting on the cliffs, is that where they'll lay their eggs?
Yeah, that's all nesting gannets, yeah.
They've got a head for heights, haven't they, gannets?
Oh, they're brilliant.
Not like
They are masters. They are masters of nesting on cliffs like this.
Yeah.
At the minute, these are all pairing up and setting up territories, and they'll start laying in sort of the end of April, May time.
It's so fantastic to see the gannets on their nests, but with a strong wind blowing up the cliffs, the sound of the colony is very muted. Time to unpack the parabolic.
Oh, that's great. I feel like I'm on the cliff. Sitting next to them, yeah. They're just really busy, really calling to each other, chatting. Well,
Fight walk.
I don't want to lose your dish.
Don't worry, hold on.
Or myself, indeed, over that cliff.
You'll be doing a Mary Poppins.
Yes, last seen flying over the cliff. Well, thank you, Richard. Pretty different to my little tape recording I did in 1962 or whenever it was.
The sight and sound of these beautiful birds is truly mesmerising. It's something I shall never forget.
Yeah, I love Hermanus. One of my favourite places on Shetland.
Oh, no, it's one of mine too. Oh, the sunshine.
My time in Shetland is coming to an end. It's been an adventure of a lifetime. A trip that has taken this city girl out into the wild.
I've had a really good time and I've pushed myself a little bit more than I would normally and really enjoyed that. Now we're heading towards the rocks, Angus. I do sort of tend to, instead of facing a challenge, very often I'll go, oh, I can't do that, you know. This is absolutely freezing. But gosh, what a reward. Woo! Been waiting for this moment, really, all my life.
It took me years to finally make it to these islands. I should have done it a long time ago. And here at Hermanus, within sight of the most northerly tip of the United Kingdom, is a truly fitting end to my journey through Shetland.
It will remain in my memory for many, many years.
In Coronation Street tomorrow night, Carla's had enough and decides to take control of her life at 7:30. And Thursday at 7, back to Emmerdale, and it's Finn's birthday. Next tonight, the ITV News at 10.